So in this segment, we're going to be talking about Kay Burley breaking the COVID rules and her absolute embarrassment of a story and an apology. Really, it's just beggars belief that someone like her, who's very famous, is a known public person. You know, a lot of people know her. She's, Sky. I think she does Sky News breakfast. I don't really watch TV, at least news channels anymore. I just try and read articles because it's way easier. Um, at least from like mainstream news channels anyways, like there's a couple of YouTube channels that I follow that cover news anyways. I digress. The stupidity here of Kay Burley is insane, and the kind of arrogance of some of these people in media um is just absolutely astonishing. Why did you do this? In the words of Terry Crews, why? So let's get into the crux of the story before I just have an absolute meltdown. So, Sky News presenter Kay Burley is to stay off air for 6 months after admitting to breaking COVID rules for during a night out for her 60th birthday. Isn't she in that age where you'd be classed as vulnerable? She's 60 years old, or is that over 75 or something? Why would you do this? I don't understand. Political editor Beth Rigby and North of England correspondent in Zaman Rashid, I'm not familiar with who that is, were among those with her, will be absent for 3 months. So those two get a lighter sentence. I genuinely think if you're in news, this is a sackable offence. Just like I think that lady, the Sky Sports presenter Kirsty Gallagher, when she got caught drink driving, she should have been sacked as well because you're making a mockery of the quote unquote news organisation, and especially with Kay Burley being in political sort of a political presenter as well. It's just very embarrassing. So Burley was among 10 people. So already she's violated the rules here because I still think if you're in tier 2 area, the rule of 6 applies if you're meeting people outside. So you're not allowed to meet with people, more than 6 people. And obviously this was in a restaurant as well. And then she went to another restaurant. She said she went there to use the toilet at 11 p.m. Like, surely the restaurant should have been closed. I know, wait, 11 p.m. is the new curfew, isn't it? But it's just strange. And then she went on to meet some other people in another house where there were 3 households there. So why were you going to this person's house? I don't understand. Like, her thought process is just insane, and her apology and statements are probably worse, to be honest. So this is Kay Burley talking. I have today agreed with Sky News to step back from my broadcasting role for a period of reflection, Burley wrote. It's clear to me that we are all in a fight against COVID. No, just and that we must all have a duty to firmly stick by the rules. I hope she gets fined 10k. Honestly, I hope she does. I hope she gets fined for this. It doesn't matter that I thought I was COVID and compliant. No, you didn't, because you were with 10 people. Like, how is this hard to understand? On a recent social event, the fact is I was wrong. I made a big mistake. I'm sorry. Some dear friends and colleagues, some of the most talented and committed professionals in our business have been pulled into this episode. Probably talking about Beth Rigby and the other person. I was one of the founding presenters of Sky News. No one is prouder of our channel's reputation, the professionals of our team, and the impact we will make. Blah, blah, blah. Read whatever you want to that. So yeah, they've done an internal review. I think she's getting 6 months with pay as well, which kind of shows you how much Sky News value her. But at the same time, her statement, is, she says, I agreed, 6 months and all that stuff. But then this here doesn't make sense. It goes, evening everyone, I want to apologise to you for all for an error of judgment. On Saturday night, I was enjoying my 60th birthday at a COVID-compliant restaurant, with, according to BBC, 10 people. So that doesn't make sense. I'm embarrassed to say that later in the evening, I inadvertently broke the rules. So this is her thing. She goes, I had been waiting for a taxi at 11 p.m. to get home, desperate for the loo. I popped into another restaurant to spend a penny. I can only apologise. But surely the second one wouldn't really break the rules. I know there's an 11 p.m. curfew, but I think they might have been a bit lenient on that one. But, it's the fact that she was out with 10 people. And, this person here, Joe Hemming, is absolute embarrassment, saying the only thing you're guilty of is looking young for a 60-year-old. There should be immediate restrictions, punitive measures for this. That's embarrassing. That's embarrassing right there. Her claiming it's a mistake, but if BBC's correct, if she's out with 10 people, surely that breaks the rules. Because as far as I know, the rule of 6 is a thing. And, it says here, under Tier 2, can people from separate households or bubbles eat and drink together at the same table inside a restaurant? That's what he's talking about here. The answer is no. So even if she was with 6 people, right, if they're from different households, you can't do this. So it doesn't make sense. And we know that they're from separate households because Beth Rigby was there. And I'm highly doubtful that they live in the same place. Also, there was the North of England correspondent, Inzaman Rashid. There's no way she's from there, from London, if she's their northern, if she's the correspondent for North of England. So this whole story doesn't make sense. And her saying inadvertently, like, you knew what you're doing. You knew, if you're a political editor and you didn't know the rules, that's embarrassing, because that means you cannot do your job properly when you're interviewing people about the rules. Because if you do not know the rules, how are you supposed to grill ministers and MPs about how effective the rules are? So you're not very good at your job then. Evidently, if you're saying it was an accident, you should have known better. And clearly this has caused some issues in Sky News. They talk about this from The Guardian. So they're talking about the internal investigation. By Friday, at least externally, the storm appeared to be calmed by the news of Burley, Rigby and Rashid's planned absence, not officially termed suspensions, and profuse apologies from all three. I have great respect for Kay Burley and Beth Rigby as journalists, the Culture Secretary Oliver Dowan told Times Radio. They've apologised, they've come off air. I think that's a suitable response. Sources at Sky News are at pains to emphasise that they will be welcomed back when their punishments are over. But for some within the organisation, a sense of injustice lingered. It remains astonishing to me that somebody paid more in a month than some people here get in a year should be given what is, in one sense, a 6-month holiday, meaning the rest of us are still here picking up the pieces. And absolutely they're correct, because she should not be paid. This should not be a paid suspension for any of them. And honestly, I think this for a person who's in political journalism, I think this is a sackable offence, especially given her holier than thou attitude. I think this is a sackable offence, and I think that Sky News are making a massive blunder here by not giving a harsher punishment. And I think that she's incredibly stupid for doing this. Incredibly stupid. This is a very stupid decision from Kay Burley to go outside to, according to the BBC, was among 10 people at a restaurant. That means you're breaching the rule of 6, which as far as I know of does still exist, and you're breaking the rules anyways, because people from separate households cannot eat together indoors. So unless you were outdoors, which I don't think you were, especially at that time in December, and her story doesn't add up, because her story contradicts what the BBC have put out. So unless the BBC are lying here, which I doubt they are, because they have to get the story verified, because they'll get libelled for this. I think Kay Burley's lying here. I think she, 60th birthday, she went out with 10 people, maybe more, maybe less, definitely more than 6. And she got caught out. People found out, and she's been suspended from her role. And so when she accuses ministers of being ineffective at their roles, well, they can turn around and say, well, ain't you the one that broke the COVID rules? Like, do you even know what the rules are? Also, she was one who, she dunked on Dominic Cummings and Jeremy Corbyn for breaking the rules. And here you are doing far worse than both of them, arguably. Well, maybe not Dominic Cummings, because he was COVID positive, but definitely worse than Corbyn. So that's, another own goal from Kay Burley here, on a day where she scored multiple own goals. Incredibly embarrassing from her. So I'm going to leave it there. Let me know what you guys think below, especially from a person who has an holier than thou attitude. I get, if you're meeting a family member or something like that, someone you haven't seen in a while, I get it, absolutely, I get it. But if you're doing this, just because you want to have a jolly with your friends, then no. Especially when we know that London's only in tier 2 for political reasons, not for COVID reasons. Realistically, according to Michael Gove, for what his words are worth, he said that London should be in tier 3. So it's only for economic reasons that London isn't in tier 3. So it's incredibly irresponsible for what's her name? Not Beth Rigby, sorry, Kay Burley to have done this, and it's incredibly irresponsible for anyone else who was involved with this, especially seeing as the Sky News senior political editor, Beth Rigby, was there as well. So I'm incredibly embarrassed. You can get secondhand embarrassment, and I've got it for both these people. Incredibly naive from both of them. Look, I'm going to leave it there. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Like, comment, share, subscribe, and hopefully I'll see you in the next one.